am going to be filming 4 videos for you, but this is my Insurgent movie review. So I saw Insurgent last night, and I saw it with a couple of friends who've all read the books, and we sort of shared our opinions of it, and so I've kind of fleshed out my opinion of it already. So yeah. So I went into it being really excited, but also knowing that I did not really like the trailers. So I was sort of nervous about it. But I made some notes at the beginning on my phone, and I was quite enjoying it when they got to amenity. I can never say that. Amenity, and there was that shot of 4 with the kids, and I really liked that bit. I thought it was quite adorable, but then it sort of started going downhill. Ansel's running when they were leaving Amenity was that was the saving grace of the first bit. I was really mad that they'd left out the thing about Amenity's bread and water sources when they were when Triss gets high on their happy serum that they put in the water, and tells Thor that he's a bad person but that she's a bad person too, because I think that was so adorable, and it kind of was quite heavy, the film, and so I think it would have been better if they'd put that in there. Also, they cut out the whole Triss not picking up a gun because she killed Will thing. She had these there was these dream shots where she'd have dreams about killing Will, or about her friends finding out that she'd killed Will and thinking she was a monster, but they never really amounted to anything. She got over it in the end, but it wasn't really as heart wrenching as the book was, with her not being able to pick up a gun because she couldn't protect herself because she refused to pick up a gun, and it was really hard to watch that in the book, whereas in the movie it was just she had these dreams. So in the first half an hour we got through half of the book. They'd left Amenity, they'd gone through Candor, they'd met the Fractionless, they'd done everything that they'd done in the book, and then the last, I really was enjoying it until they got to Candor, and the night before Triss left and Triss and Thor had sex, or at least it was very heavily implied that that's what they did. Nothing was shown, but it was very heavily implied, and I hated that. I hated it so much, because in Divergent, even in the movie, we see her struggling with the fact that she doesn't want that level of intimacy with Thor yet. She's really scared of that level of intimacy. She's scared of letting herself be weak, and in Insurgent, if she just even in that scene, if she just even broke away from him a minute and been I'm not sure about it, and then him been no, we don't have to do it, or something, but she wasn't even unsure about it, she was just yeah, go right into it and let's do it, and I really hated that, because that's not what the book is. In the book, she doesn't until Allegiant, and even then she really freaks out about it, and it's not let's just do it. But yeah, that was when it started to go downhill for me. Not because of that, because if that had happened and then the rest of the film had been really good, I wouldn't have minded. But it wasn't. And the last, hour of the film was literally just, we got a bigger budget, so we're going to show off our special effects. And I really hated it. It was they did this big thing with the box, and that the only way to open the box that had the message from the Founders in it was to have Triss or any Divergent pass the tests for all 5 factions. And it was just really boring, and it had a lot of special effects, and it didn't really advance the plot whatsoever, and it didn't really make Caleb out to be this villain that he is not villain, but he doesn't really betray Triss in the way he betrays Triss in the book. in the books, he really, really betrays her, and he's the reason she's in the mess she's in. But in the film, it's more Peter is the reason, and I don't think Peter's character was entirely fleshed out, because his character in the movie confused me a lot. Then there was that scene where Tris and Caleb were talking, and Tris was like, "Why'd you do it, Caleb? What she told you?" And then she put her hands in her hair like this. And like, it was a perfectly natural thing, but because her hair's so short, it just stuck up. And it was a really serious conversation that was going on between her and Caleb, which they're like, "Oh, yeah, let's sort out this sibling stuff. Oh, Mum and Dad wouldn't be proud of me. They'd be so disappointed." And then everybody, like, it wasn't even just me, everybody in the cinema was just like, "What is her hair?" And I feel bad because I don't know why they didn't reshoot that. And I just don't get it. Like, it was such a serious scene, and it would have been really good if Shailene's hair had been fixed. And it's just a random thing, but it really put me off. And me and my friends were just trying not to laugh, and then it wasn't working. It was just awful. Yeah, so I think, and then the Peter thing, like, they had Peter still save her, but it was like she was dead. Like, I've forgotten most of the book, so I'm not sure what happens in the book, but she's in a simulation and he injects her with something on the way to the simulation, and then the simulation thinks she dies, and like, it was monitoring her pulse and her heart rate and everything, yet it thinks she's dead. And then it was never like explained to Thor or Tris or anybody how he did it. It was just like, "Oh yeah, I injected her with something before," and you were just like, "Really?" And they tried this trick about 4 times when they were like trying to fake you out to whether it was a simulation. Like, they did when Thor came to save Tris, and as soon as the guns went off, Tris like woke up from the simulation, and as soon as that happened, I was like, "This is a simulation. It's obvious. She's in a computer program. She would not wake up at a sound of something outside of the computer program." So then when she was running around like shooting people, I was like, "This is boring. She's in a sim. It's not." I'm not even like, I don't think any of the times that they faked us out, I ever thought, "Oh, are they in a sim?" It was, "Yeah, they're in a sim." So what? You've done this before. Like, I know this is a big ranty thing, and there was some things I really liked about it, but they're really like downcast on things I didn't like, and I don't know whether I want to see Insurgent Part 1. I really don't. I just think they changed too much, and they changed a lot of things. And it wasn't like in Divergent, where they changed a lot of little things that added to the storyline and boosted the characters more. It was like, it confused me, and as a person, I don't know, if I was a person who hadn't read the book, I don't know if I would have been confused or really liked it. I'm not sure. I knew they'd take out the gun thing though, because it's a big action blockbuster and they don't want her not to be shooting guns. Yeah. And the ending. That's my most big annoyance about it. In Allegiant, the whole point of the first half of Allegiant is the fact that they're stuck in Chicago because nobody wants to leave. Nobody wants to leave the city. They're all wary of what's outside because they've never been outside before. That's fair enough. At the end of Insurgent, everybody in the entire city is just walking towards the wall ready to leave, and everybody's just fine with leaving. And you're like, why? I mean, yeah, you've seen the message, but in the books they're all like, "No, we don't want to leave. How can we trust this woman? And that we've never seen before. How can we trust this message in a box that we can leave?" And I just don't get it. I don't get what they're going to do with Allegiant Part 1 if they cut that out, if everybody doesn't stay, and I don't understand it. I just think Allegiant Part 1 is going to be a load of made up rubbish that's not in the books, and I'm not happy with that. So that was my bit of a rant about Insurgent the movie, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.